For years, the RAV4 has been the default answer, not because it's perfect, but because it's familiar. It's the SUV people recommend when they don't want to think too hard, when they want the safe choice, when they want something that feels like it can't go wrong. But in 2026, being the safe choice isn't the same as being the best choice. The compact and midsize SUV world moved forward fast, and the RAV4's biggest strength, being the obvious pick, has quietly become its biggest weakness. Because when you actually compare what you live with every day, there are SUVs that feel more refined, more responsive, more modern inside, more satisfying on the highway, and in some cases, simply a better deal for the money. So today, I'm giving you 6 SUVs that are simply better in 2026. Better in ways that matter when you're stuck in traffic, doing long highway stretches, carrying people, climbing hills, parking daily, and living with the tech and the cabin comfort for years. Stay with me, because one of these is the quiet king of daily driving, one of them is a hybrid that makes you wonder why you'd pay extra just for the badge, and one of them has a premium feel that can make the RAV4 seem like it's charging for its name. And if you want more rankings like this, subscribe, because this is Royer Motors. Top 6 Kia Sportage 2026. The Kia Sportage is the kind of SUV that exposes a hard truth. A lot of people buy the RAV4 because they think it's the only smart choice. Then they sit inside a Sportage and realize the market changed. The Sportage doesn't try to be a rugged billboard. It tries to be good at the things you actually use. Comfort, cabin design, technology that feels current, and powertrains that make sense for both city and highway. Let's start with how it drives, because that's where your body notices it first. In most configurations, the gas Sportage leans on a traditional automatic transmission feel, and that matters more than people admit. A conventional automatic tends to feel more natural in real-world acceleration because it reacts in a predictable way when you roll into the throttle. With a lot of buyers, the RAV4's driving personality can feel a little filtered, like the vehicle is smoothing everything out. That's not always bad, but it can also feel less direct when you want quick response. The Sportage often feels like it gives you a more immediate relationship between your foot and the vehicle's movement, especially in everyday mid-pedal driving. Now, the hybrid side is where the Sportage becomes a genuine threat to the RAV4's default status. A good hybrid isn't only about fuel savings, it's about the feeling of torque at normal speeds. When the electric assist is tuned well, you get that instant push off the line, a calmer climb up hills without the engine feeling strained, and smoother bursts of speed when you're slipping into a gap on the highway. In other words, it feels strong without having to feel loud. That's the kind of effortless driving experience people think they're buying when they pick a mainstream SUV. The Sportage hybrid approach can give you that sensation in a way that feels modern and smooth, not just economical. Inside, the Sportage can be the moment where some buyers realize the RAV4 is a little too practical first. The RAV4 cabin is functional, but it isn't always the most emotionally satisfying place to spend hours. The Sportage leans more into a modern cabin atmosphere, more contemporary screen integration, a more new generation layout, and an overall vibe that can feel like a step up without the luxury price tag. And that changes ownership psychology. You stop feeling like you bought something fine and start feeling like you bought something you actually enjoy. The biggest reason Sportage makes this list is simple. It can give you the impression that you're getting more SUV for the money. More design, more tech presence, more comfort feel, and powertrain options that work for people who care about both efficiency and daily response. That's why it's a RAV4 alternative that's not just logical, it's tempting. Top 5 Nissan Rogue 2026. The Nissan Rogue is the SUV that doesn't scream for attention, and that's exactly why it wins for the right type of buyer. Most people don't need a vehicle that looks like it's ready to conquer a mountain. They need a vehicle that makes daily life easier, smoother in traffic, calm on the highway, quiet enough to feel premium, and responsive enough to make merging feel safe and effortless. What makes the Rogue interesting is how it delivers usable power. In real driving, you rarely live at high RPM. You live in the middle. You live in that range where you're rolling at 20 to 60 miles per hour, where traffic opens and closes, where you accelerate briefly and then settle. This is where an engine with strong low-end and mid-range torque changes the whole personality of an SUV. The Rogue's powertrain is designed to feel energetic in that exact zone, so it can feel quicker than you'd expect when you don't want to floor it, which is most of the time. And then there's the comfort philosophy. Rogue tends to prioritize a relaxed, easygoing driving character. The steering isn't trying to be sporty for the sake of it, it's trying to be predictable. The ride feels tuned for real roads, not smooth test tracks. You notice it when you hit rough pavement or imperfect city streets because the vehicle feels like it absorbs the chaos instead of transmitting it into your seat. Where the Rogue can feel better than RAV4 is in the day-to-day emotional experience. Many RAV4 owners love the idea of owning a RAV4, but the Rogue can make you love the act of driving your SUV more. It can feel less like an appliance and more like a refined daily companion, especially if your life is built around commuting, errands, school runs, and long highway stretches where cabin calm matters. This is the SUV you choose when you want to feel like your vehicle is helping you, not just existing. And that's a big reason people quietly switch to Rogue and don't feel the need to return. Top 4 Hyundai Tucson 2026. The Hyundai Tucson is one of the clearest examples of why the RAV4 can't just live off reputation anymore. Because the Tucson is built like Hyundai decided to stop playing defense and start playing offense. Modern design, modern interior logic, and powertrain options that make sense for a buyer who wants efficiency without sacrificing comfort and confidence. The first big difference is the newness factor. The Tucson feels like it belongs to this era, not just in how it looks, but in how the cabin is arranged and how the tech integrates into the daily experience. You notice it the moment you sit in it. Controls feel more intentional, the cockpit feels more digital forward, and the whole interior vibe can feel like it's aiming above the segment. For a lot of buyers, that matters because you don't just buy an SUV's engine, you buy the environment you'll sit in every day. Now, in hybrid form, Tucson becomes even more strategic. A hybrid SUV that's tuned well changes your entire relationship with driving. Instead of feeling like the engine is constantly working, you feel that smoother, more effortless push at low speed. The electric assist makes city driving feel calmer, and it makes merging feel less stressful because the vehicle doesn't have to think as long before it starts moving with confidence. That's why a good hybrid often feels like a more premium driving experience than a base gas engine, even when you're not thinking about fuel economy at all. And Hyundai's broader ownership proposition matters too. It isn't only about features, it's about confidence. Many people choose Toyota because they want to feel safe about long-term ownership. Hyundai counters that with a strong warranty reputation that gives buyers a different type of peace of mind, not trust us, but we'll stand behind it. That changes the emotional decision, especially for buyers who want a modern SUV but don't want to feel exposed if something goes wrong. The Tucson earns its place here because it can feel like a better today SUV than the RAV4. More current, more modern inside, more enjoyable in hybrid driving, and often a stronger value story once you compare what you get at the price. Top 3 Subaru Forester 2026. If you live in the real world, weather, hills, uneven roads, long trips, bad pavement, Subaru's Forester is one of those SUVs that feels like it's built as a tool, not just a lifestyle statement. The reason people fall in love with a Forester usually isn't a single wow feature. It's the way it behaves consistently, day after day, when conditions aren't perfect. The Forester's personality is defined by stability and confidence. Subaru's AWD DNA and chassis tuning tend to create a vehicle that feels planted, especially in rain or on roads where traction becomes a mental stress. That's a huge difference from SUVs that feel fine in sunshine, but become nervous when the road gets unpredictable. With Forester, many drivers feel like the vehicle stays calm, and that calm becomes your calm. Now let's talk practicality, because Forester has always been quietly brilliant here. Visibility is typically strong, the cabin feels airy, and the space is usable without feeling bulky. You don't have to fight the vehicle to place it in a parking spot, and you don't have to wonder whether your passengers will be comfortable in the back. It's an SUV that makes everyday life easier in a way you don't appreciate until you live with it. And if you look at the more rugged versions, like the wilderness flavor that exists in this ecosystem, the Forester becomes a direct challenge to the adventure branding that Toyota uses so well. Subaru is basically saying, you don't need an adventure image. You need an adventure-capable setup. The towing bump on wilderness-style configurations is one of those details that reveals the engineering intention, not just looks, but function. Forester beats the RAV4 for a very specific buyer, the one who values confidence over flash, traction over hype, and practicality that feels honest. If your life involves weather, trips, and real-world terrain, Forester can feel like the smarter long-term companion. Top 2. Mazda CX-5. 2026. The Mazda CX-5 is the SUV that makes some RAV4 buyers uncomfortable, in the best way, because it highlights how much feel matters. The RAV4 can be a smart purchase, but the CX-5 can make you feel like your smart purchase also has taste. It's the SUV that many people call near luxury without paying luxury money, and that's not a small statement in this segment. The CX-5's big advantage is cohesion. Everything feels like it was tuned to work together. Steering weight, suspension control, cabin quiet, the way the vehicle settles at speed, the way it turns without feeling top-heavy. On a highway, it can feel more composed. In a curve, it can feel more confident. Over rough pavement, it can feel more controlled without being harsh. That's the type of refinement people often expect from premium brands, not mainstream compact SUVs. Now let's talk engines, because Mazda's philosophy tends to favor naturally responsive power delivery rather than overcomplicated behavior. Depending on trim and market, you'll find different configurations, but the point is consistent. The CX-5 tends to feel eager and smooth, with an acceleration character that feels more linear and less filtered. That matters when you're driving daily because you stop feeling like the vehicle is just transporting you and start feeling like it's working with you. Inside, CX-5 is where the RAV4 can start to feel like it's charging extra for being popular. Mazda cabins tend to feel more intentional, cleaner design, higher perceived quality, a calmer atmosphere. The seats often feel supportive for long drives. The layout tends to feel driver-focused without feeling cramped. And that premium feel affects your day-to-day satisfaction more than people expect, because a vehicle you enjoy sitting in becomes a vehicle you enjoy owning. This is why CX-5 earns number 2. It's not just about reliability or resale. It's about living with your SUV. If you want your compact SUV to feel like a step up in refinement and driving pleasure, CX-5 can be the moment you stop seeing the RAV4 as the automatic answer. Top 1. Honda CR-V 2026. The Honda CR-V is the closest thing to a no-regrets SUV in this entire conversation, and in 2026, it's one of the clearest reasons the RAV4 doesn't automatically win anymore. Because CR-V gets the fundamentals right in a way that feels almost unfair. Space, comfort, ease of use, and a hybrid setup that makes everyday driving feel effortless rather than complicated. Let's start with what most owners feel immediately: cabin space and practicality. CR-V has that everything fits vibe. The rear seat tends to feel genuinely adult-friendly. The cargo space feels designed for real life, not just a spec sheet. The seating position is comfortable for long drives, and the cabin layout feels like Honda focused on functionality without making the interior feel cheap. Now, the hybrid factor is the real game changer. A well-executed hybrid doesn't just save fuel, it changes the driving feel. It gives you that immediate electric assist at low speeds, that smooth push in traffic, that calm power delivery when you're merging. Instead of the engine feeling like it's working hard, the vehicle feels like it has reserve. And that reserve is what creates confidence. It's the kind of confidence that makes you feel safe without feeling slow. The trail sport angle in the CR-V ecosystem is also important because it speaks to what many RAV4 buyers want emotionally, the sense that the SUV can handle more than just pavement. The difference is that the CR-V does it without turning the vehicle into a stiff, noisy compromise. It keeps the comfort, keeps the daily refinement, and adds the vibe and capability that people like. CR-V wins number 1 because it's the most complete solution for the widest range of people. It's the SUV that makes you feel like you bought something balanced, efficient without being weak, spacious without being bulky, refined without being delicate. It doesn't just beat the RAV4 in one category. It beats it in the category that matters most, the total ownership experience.